Hey there, Heather Hill. There's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to yet another 7374 WHA video. We have ourselves 12 teams fighting tooth and nail. In the East, the New England Whalers 17-8 soon become the Hartford Whalers, and 5 years later joining the NHL. Second place is the Cleveland Crusaders 14-9-1. Second place. Behind the great goaltending of Jerry Cheevers, as usual, Cleveland would soon lose the WHA team for many years, and then they got an NHL team, the Barons. Chicago in third place, 13-9, fighting the Chicago Blackhawks for some votes and all that for the fans. The Toronto Toros, who used to be the Ottawa Nationals, um, well, Ottawa the first year, then moved to Toronto. They're in fourth place. The Quebec Nordiques have to do something here. They are a legendary team that went to the WHA 5 years later. NHL 5 years later, and the New Jersey Knights 10-16. They used to be called the New York Knights, but unfortunately for them, they actually um, played arena in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, which basically was an honest look. This is actually the year 73, 74 that Dryden actually left the NHL because of a contract dispute and became worked in a law office and almost went to the WHA. In the West, the Houston Aeros looking pretty good, 17-5-2. Well, adding the Howe boys, Mark and Marty, and their father, Gordy, is a big plus. Minnesota Fighting Saints, 17-7-1. They are trying to fight up the North Stars for fans. The Edmonton Oilers, third place, 14-10-2. Pretty good team. Of course, 5 years later, they would go to the NHL. So would the Winnipeg Jets. They're fourth place right now at 25 points. They would be going to the WHA. The Vancouver Blazers, 9-15-1. Last year, they were the Philadelphia Blazers, but fans in Philly lost their touch and basically said, fuck this. And then they moved the team to Vancouver because, Philly lost Bernie Perrant back to the NHL, so there's Henderson. And the Los Angeles Sharks are pathetic, 4-23-1. I don't know even who they won to. Anyway, the goal scoring, Mike Shaker Walton with 22 goals, Ron Climby and Bobby Hall with 21 each. It's Bobby Hall would expect. Points wise, Henri Lacroix and Gordie Howe are 1, 2 in points, 39 points each. Serge Bernier and Mike Walter with 38 points. Goaltending, Cam Newton, 10-1-1 as a goalie, 197 goals against. Jerry Cheevers, number 2. Don McLeod, number 3. It's weird. Jim McLeod has one win this year, and he has better goals against than Richard Brodeur, who have won 4. Standings wise, Chicago's played 22 games. Toronto and Quebec have really tired themselves out. Chicago's only played 22 games. Their points percentage is actually third behind New England and Cleveland. The West, Winnipeg and LA with 28 games each. Houston with 24. So anyway, yeah, LA has not won a home game, which is weird because usually you want to win more home games than road games. Highlights and all that. 12 hat tricks. There hasn't been a hat trick in God knows how long. Last hat trick was November 15th. We're in December. Highest memorable game, New Jersey's 5-4 win on October 20th against LA when LA was up 4-1, looking for their third win, and then they blew a 4-1 lead and the Knights won in overtime. Toronto's 5-4 win over Chicago on November 10th when they were down 4-1 and Wayne Dillon scored the overtime goal. Did their job against Newton. I think we did that game. And then Houston's 5-4 win over Houston when LA was up 4-1 and then Houston used 4 goals, including one by Gordy. Yeah, the memorable games, I don't 20 or higher, I go CLA with the wins. We're going to do all the Saturday games. New Jersey versus Chicago, first off. The Knights 10-16, the Cougars 13-9 with no ties. Joe Junkin, the main guy for the Knights in that against Rich Kutu, so they give Noonan the night off. Gill is also there. Cam Newton is not the quarterback. Well, that's not. There's a different Cam Newton, quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Gary Kurt and Jim McLeod are your backup goalies. New Jersey has Andre Lacroix, one of the best point getters around. Kevin Morrison, a good defenseman. I think he played for the Rockies. Wayne Rivers, former Blue. Gene Prakash, Brian Morenz, I think he's related to Howie somehow. Ken Block, Bobby Jones, Mike London, Brian Bradley, not the former Kitchener Ranger. Norm Ferguson. I was thinking he played for the Jets, but no, that's we're done. Don Harriman, Brian Perry, Harry Howe, the former New York Rangers icon who also played for the Golden Seals. Bobby Sheehan, former Hab. Bob Brown, Greg Rugmuth, Gary Peters, Ted Scarf, who soon became an executive for the Kitchener Rangers. Dean Boylan, Bill Spear, Bob Winograd, and Wade Rose. Chicago has Ralph Backstrom, yes, that Ralph Backstrom in their lineup. Montreal icon before being traded to LA midway through the 70-71 season. It was kind of a shrewd trade because they wanted LA to make sure LA scored enough points to not be last place in the NHL. And so the number one pick would go to Montreal via Oakland. Rosie Paymon there, who was a good goal scorer. He once was hypnotized to try to get some goals, but it didn't work out. Joe Hardy, none of the Hardy boys, baby. Pat Stapleton, former Blackhawk. Larry Maverty, Bob Lannington, Bob Szynski, John Pepil, Bobby Whitlock, Rick Morris, Duke Harris, Dale Meggs, Frank Marchand, Dick Proviat, Ron Sain, Reggie Fleming, the first NHLer to have CTE diagnosis, Brian Coates, Jim Benzelak, Eric Nesarenko, former Blackhawk, and Brian Glenwright with John Schmier. 3 minutes into the game, aggression. Penalty on New Jersey. And it would be Rick Month. Chicago with a chance. Maverty, no. Whitlock, no. Much later. Aggression. Perryman. Again, makes it 1-0. Much later, a fight between Scarf and Proficat. Benzeloff, his first, and came on and Maverty. Yeah. Well, it's good news for New Jersey. They make sure Chicago is one defenseman later. No shot by Brian Bradley. And 2 after 20. Bring around the Rosie. Just scored his 8th goal. Stapleton, Livingston with assists. New Jersey falls down. As you can probably guess that I'm trying to do, when I do my calls, like ring around the Rosie and all that, I do it after the goal horn so that you can hear me. 3 minutes later, battle aggression. If he did it for the road team, then you'll obviously hear it because there's no goal horn. Morrison penalty. Double chance. Papel. Oh, I thought he had it. There you go. Papa power play goal. Pat Stapleton. I want Gene Stapleton. Second goal from Szynski and Maverty, 4-0. New Jersey in trouble. Much later. A hit on Bradley. And New Jersey gets a penalty. Scarf whacks Backstrom. No shot from Szynski. And no shot from Rick Morris trying to and New Jersey is so pissed off they're going to give Jim McLeod the puck. Because why not? They're pretty good. Hardy boys goes to second. 10 to the from Marchand. 5-0 Chicago. This game's been worse and worse and worse for the Knights. It's Hardy. New Jersey scores. Brian Morenz on the power play from Kenny Block makes it 5-1, but this game's practically over. Chicago, no shot from Stapleton, and no shot from Rosie. 5 minutes later, New Jersey scores. LaCroix, have a LaCroix. His 9th from Block and Perry makes it 5-2. Are we going to see a comeback? Prakash with a penalty. No shot by Konstantin. This game is practically over. Chicago is a 6-2 win. Couture does his good job. Junkin just couldn't do it. Chicago, 2 goals in each of the periods. Hardy with 2. Benzelak, Paymont, Stapleton, and Backstrom with the others. It was fun. We have to Cleveland next, Whalers and Crusaders, and it will be Al Smith, the main goalie for New England, taking on Bob Whitten. Cheevers getting the night off. So we'll see what happens here. The top two teams in the East. John Pardon my French, in left wing. Tom Webster, a good goal scorer previous year's play. He's in. Larry Plove, former Hab hack, if you will. Al Carlander, Don Blackburn, Tim Sheehy, his brother, his son Neil Sheehy. I have his card. Tommy Williams, American-born player, wherein American-born players were very scarce. Hugh Harris, Mike Byers, Jim Dory, former Leaf, Rick Lee, former Leaf, Brad Selwood, former Leaf. So basically, a lot of Leafs moved on to the WHA. Dave Keon did not jump to the WHA till later on. Terrible Ted Green, former Boston rearguard, who lost a season due to a stick swinging incident with Wayne Mackey. But he's a WHA. Tom Earl, Paul Hurley, John Conniff, Bob Charlebois, Guy Smith, John Danby, and Ricky Jordan. Cleveland has Gary Jarrett, Jim West, Jerry Pinder, Skip Craik, Grant Erickson, Ron Buchanan, Paul Schmier, Tom Uter, Ray Clearwater, Paul Andrea, Russ Walker, Larry Hillman, who played for 5 and 6 original 6 teams, Doug Brindley, Bill Hato, Robbie Neal. I don't think that's Harry Neal's son. Bill Young, Malloy, Norm Cornway. I don't know if he's Yvonne's son. I don't think so. Wayne Hillman, who also played NHL. Rich Pumple, Ty Hutchin, former SEAL, Rob Hapiori, and Ron Morgan. 5 minutes into the game. Chance for Pinder? No. And 4 minutes later. Chance for Russ Walker. What a stop by Smith. Much later. Whitten must be replaced. French hit the goalie, and he gets 2 minutes. Whitten is replaced by Cheevers. Gary, the Richard Garrett, is from Cleveland. 1 minute later, agitated. New England gets agitated. Selwood takes the 2-minute penalty. No shot by Heindel. Chance to make it to Andrea. Stopped by Smith. Hit Clearwater. And it's 1-0 Cleveland after 20 minutes. I think you should keep Cheevers in the net. 3 minutes later, Cleveland gets the ball with Walker. Reading the skiers, Papa Prodigal, Hugh Hefner Harris, his 12 from Webster and Sheehy. And that's going to be the end of the Cheevers. He's going back. Whitten's going back in net. 3 minutes. It's Jim Dory, who once took 8 penalties. Papa Prodigal, Paul Andrea makes it 2-1. 3 more minutes. It's just a normal goal. Jarrett's got 2 points today. 3 minutes later. Chance for New England skiers. His 11 from Selwood and Tommy Williams. Man, he's picking up the assist. Last moment. Jim Dory trying to tie it, but he can't. So Cleveland up 3-2 after 40. What end? 5 more minutes. Cleveland gets realized with Walker. Can the Whale tie it up? Nope. Hugh Harris tried for his second of the night, but can't. Tom Webster? No. 3 more minutes. Got him? All on the PK at Selwood. And Cleveland makes the pace. Tough goal. Rex Walker, his 8 from Pinder and Buchanan. I think that's the second assist for Pinder. Time is running low on Sheehy gets hit. Empty net. Gary Cheevers, well, he played 10 minutes, but he didn't get the decision. It was Whitten who gets the decision over Smith. New England thought they were clever, but no. Yeah, Whitten had to leave for 10 minutes, but they still won the game. Cleveland Kachit. All right, the third game is Quebec, Minnesota. Quebec brings Michel Duguay, the backup, in the net. Mike Curran, the number 1 goalie for Minnesota, he'll be in there. John Garrett, the future NHLer with the Whalers, and color commentator doing his job. And Jack McCartan is the number 3 goalie. McCartan is the guy most memorable for being part of the Forgotten Miracle in 1960 when the U.S. won the Olympic gold medal in hockey. And you forgot that was the first American gold medal in hockey. and not 1980. Quebec has Richard Brodeur, King Richard, who said 8 years later would help Vancouver somehow get to the Stanley Cup Finals, but get blown up by the Islanders. And Serge Aubry's the number 3 guy. I think they basically went like some kind of system. Anyway, a lot of French Canadians. I think everyone was French Canadian on the Quebec team. Well, Quebec served as the French Canadian answer to the Montreal Canadiens once they got into the to the next thing. Serge Barnier, Bobby Goudin, Andre Godet, Regent Roule, Castle, or Peanut, as they call him, Michel Pedroso, Jean Gilbert, J.C. Tremblay, former Hab, Guy Dufour, Alain Caron, Rene Leclerc, Dan Hoganson, Ellen Brule, Francois Lacombe, former SEAL, Pierre Guite, Jean-Guy Gendron, Jean Payette, Kim Desjardins, Rajon Giroux, Pierre Roy, Norm Biscuitu, and Michel Rouleau. Minnesota had Mike Shaker Walton, Wayne Connolly, former Bruin, Shaker former Leaf, George Morrison, Murray Heatley, Ted Hampson, former SEAL, Jim Johnson, Mike Antonovich, Johnny Arbor, the Goon, Bob McMillan, future Flame, Steve Cardwell, Mike McMahon, former Star, Rick Smith, Keith Christensen, Terry Ball, Rob Bolton, Gord Gallant, not Gerard Gallant, Bill Klatt, Bob Boyd, Dick Paradise, and Blaine Reitman. A lot of time in. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake that goals on. Shake that goal dance. His 23rd from Ball and McMahon. Walton trying to become the WHA goal Morrison for 2. Quebec, Pariseau got hit, and they couldn't take a shot afterwards. 5 more minutes. With a skill, Conway from Hampson makes it 2-0 for the Fighting Kings. And that will be your score after 20 minutes. I know you get 20 and 40 mixed up. Early on in the second. 11 from Walton and McMahon. I think I talked about Murray Heatley when I talked about it first. Morrison and Hampson. Heatley's not getting the numbers. 5 minutes later. Whoever hit on things. 5 more minutes. Quebec trying to score. 3 more minutes. They take a chance? No. Battle aggression? It's Gallant. Can Quebec take advantage? They will. They score. Power play goal. Pop-up power play goal. Hogan! That's Hoganson's first from JC and Houle. So the Montreal Canadiens connection. Well, if Hoganson was a Canadian, that would be great. But I don't think he was. Quebec, a chance. They score. Michel Pariseau. Tenacious, like the former Quebec Premier Jacques Pariseau. Serge Bernier with the assist. Quebec's back down by 1. I know. Aren't you doing these things in French? Well, they are the road team, so I can't really do it. They're the home team. That's different. 2 minutes. Battle. Aggression. Gallant again. Quebec. Desjardins and Gentron can't do anything. 4 minutes later. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shaker Walton. Shaker Walton. His second of the night, 24 for the year. Ball with the assist. Then, not much time left. Quebec with another chance. Bernier. Oh, what a robbery by Caran. Much later. Trying to kill the clock. Next event's -1. Christensen will take the 2-minute penalty, because why not? Minnesota gets another penalty. Gallant. So it's a 5-on-3, maybe a 6-on-3. Bernier, not can't skill or power play goal. Pariseau, his second of the night from Bernier and JC, makes it 4-3. This game isn't over yet. That split. Oh, could have been a counter. And Quebec runs out of time. The Fighting Saints win 4-3. Quebec just ran out of time. They were down 3-0. They had a chance. Pariseau with a pair of goals, Tremblay with a pair of assists. But the wild. The Fighting Saints win 4-3. So we simulate the rest of the week. Aren't we supposed to? Yeah, that's right. Cleveland, New England already played. Chicago, Quebec, Minnesota, Toronto, Houston, Vancouver. We could. New Jersey, Winnipeg. I'm thinking we do Houston, Vancouver. We'll have Houston, Vancouver lead off. Should we do that or no? But what do we have for the 15th? Houston, Chicago, Toronto, Cleveland, and LA, Vancouver. Actually, hold. No, we're gonna just do LA, Vancouver. We skipped through all the Sunday games, right? Yes. Okay, and Vancouver v Houston. So we'll sim all the way to the 15th because that's when we'll have LA versus Vancouver. We might as well give the Sharks some happiness, I think. Anyway, yeah, so it's a dogfight between Chicago, Quebec, and Toronto for third place right now. New England and Cleveland look good. Minnesota and Houston are trying to lead the West, with Winnipeg and Edmonton also fighting. Yeah, Vancouver, LA will be practically worse on worse, if you will. Shaker Walton still leads in goals. Well, Newton still leads in goals against. So practically, yeah, Jim McLeod's losing his touch and all that. Yeah, the LA Sharks are just losing it. They're 5-24-1 after all. But yeah, so that's the end of this video. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. Do there we go.